Okay, so for this first one, when you look at it, this sign just means sum. So you're going to plug in k values of 1 up to 4. It tells you at the bottom where to start. At the top tells you where to end. So when I plug in 1, 2 times 1 plus 1 is 3. When I plug in 2, I get 5. When I plug in 3, I get in 7. When I plug in 4, I get 9. Since it's sum, you add them all up together, and when you do, you get 24, so that's your answer. Then for the next one, it's the same. At the bottom it says start at 1, top says start at 5. That's what you're going to plug into the equation. So when I plug them into the equation and simplify, I get 1 when I plug in 1, I get 8 when I plugged in 2, I get 27 when I plug in 3, and because it's sum, you add them all up, and the answer is 36. Okay, then for the bottom ones, so you have to look at this. When it says a sub n, that's telling you how to find a particular number in a series. Then the S, think S stands for sum. So if it says S1, it means the sum of just the first term. If it says S sub 2, that means add term 1 and term 2. Sum 3 means add the first 3. So a sub 1 plus a sub 2 plus a sub 3. So over here, we found a sub 1, plugged in 1, we got out -2, we plugged in 2, we got out 1, we plugged in 3, we got out 8, we plugged in 4, we got out 15. So for the first one, if it's only the first term, the answer for S sub 1 would be -2. For S sub 2, if we're adding the first two terms, we're adding -2 plus 1. Those are the answers for a sub 1 plus a sub 2, so the answer is -1. For S sub 3, if we add up the first three terms, a sub 1 plus a sub 2 plus a sub 3, we're adding -2 plus 1 plus 8, so our answer would be 7 for S sub 3. So S sub 4, we would add them all up, -2 plus 1 plus 8 plus 15. So our answer would be 22 for S sub 4. Actually, a repeat, right? No, it's not. Then on the next page, same thing. So I think this is... Okay, so on the next page, we're plugging in 1 up to 5. So a sub 1, we would get 1. When we plug in 2, we would get 8. When we plug in 3, we would get 27. When we plug in 4, 64. When we plug in 5, we get 125. Then because it's sum, we add them all up, so our answer is 225. Number 10, you don't have to do. It's a repeat from the other side. Number 7. Number 11, it just said find the first 4 terms. So it's telling you to plug in 1, it's telling you to plug in 2, it's telling you, well, they're not equal, but it's telling you to plug in 3, and it's telling you to plug in 4 for n. So a sub 1, you're plugging in n equals 1. When it says a sub 2, you're plugging in n2. When it says a sub 3, you're plugging in 3, and when it says a sub 4, you're plugging in 4. So the fourth term would be 4/5 when you simplify it after plugging in 4 for n. A sub 3, that term, the third term, would be 3/4 after plugging in n3. The a sub 2 is second term. The sub means what term it is, so you get 2/3. A sub 1 for the first term. When you plugged in n1, you get 1/2. The final one's a little tricky. You're looking at this sequence of numbers, and you're trying to figure out a formula that would go with it. So it's a little confusing. The first term, you're always saying n is 1, right? So a few ways of looking at it. If I plug in 1 here, I would get 2 to the 1 minus 1, which would be 2 to the 0, which is 1. And that is the first term. Then if I plug in for n2, second term, 2 to the second term minus 1 will get us 2 to the first, which is 2. So for the n3, for the third term, we would get 2 to the second, which is 4. So one option is this as a formula, or another option would be start at 0, plug in 0, and go up to 6. They both work.